solutions using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Colton and Robert Webb.
Hey, what's happening? Welcome to the show, Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, noon to 2 p.m. Give us a call. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Appreciate everybody joining me. Appreciate all the people calling. Appreciate all the comments you make, whether you agree or disagree. That's the whole point in having this dialogue, is to have a forum on it's kind of like you're sitting around a kitchen table and everybody's talking about different stuff. Everybody doesn't agree on everything, but it's a conversation. And that's what we like to have here, and I hope you enjoy it. That's what we try to do here, and we hope to continue to do this going forward. By the way, I want to shout out to a friend of mine who's having a birthday today, Tina Lasker. I hope you have a good day today as well. Robert Webb will be along here in just a moment. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about as it relates to all of those things. We are streaming live. I am about to stream, or at least I'm about to post the YouTube stream, so you can go out and check that out as well. And if you go out, I would appreciate it if you simply friend me or subscribe, okay? There's a method to my madness. One of the things that we're trying to do is take this show national, and I need your help on this, okay? And we have to get up to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube before it opens up the doors for some other things that we can get done with the show. So I need your help on that. So and I'll tell you here, I'll post this in just a moment. Once we post it, go ahead and even though you may look at the show during on Facebook, I still need you to go ahead and jump out there and subscribe to the show, okay? If you'll do that for me, all right? I don't know what's wrong with my keyboard. All right, there we go. All right, so I'll post that here in just a moment. So I just want to get all that done here before we move forward. And it's pretty easy to find, by the way. It has the show's logo out there, and you should see it. It pops right up. And it gives you today's date and everything. And then, of course, the great thing about YouTube, you can go back and archive and find some of the older shows for Black Focus on YouTube. But really the best places, on Facebook, the best places, why am I duplicating what you're saying? You probably got a speaker on or something, Jackie. That's a good question. Or you might want to, I don't know, it's something on your end that's doing that, unfortunately. So I can't answer that question. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and post this right now. What are you duplicating and saying in the background? I'm not doing anything or saying anything in the background. It could be that you are listening to. Did that help? Because if you're listening to the feed, okay, got it. Good. Okay. All right. Doing technical support while I'm doing my show. That never leaves. Okay. So we got a lot of people joining us today. So just as I was saying earlier, if you'll do me a favor and just simply go out to the YouTube feed and friend me and subscribe, because the goal is to get up to 1,000 subscribers, okay? So I need you guys' help with that. Can y'all do that for me? Really appreciate that. All right, so I'm still trying to get this posted. All right, here we go. By the way, if you know someone out there who'd like to be a radio intern, we could sure use one around here, because things are getting busier, and it's gonna get busier. Okay, trust me. So we could use a radio intern. So I just posted that, and we'll share it. It should be shared on my wall as well, so you ought to be able to take care of that. Okay. So, tell you what I want to do now. I want to do black facts. So let's do that. Let's see. Okay, cool. And we'll do that. I just shared it there. So, all right, now that's taken care of. So now let's jump out and do black facts. And today I want to talk a little bit about, and tell you what, we got to do it right. You know what I'm saying?
Dynamic black facts. Our culture, our history, our people.
Okay. So today it's June 6th. And many of you all may not know the significance of June 6th, but it's D-Day, of course. I'm sure you've studied it. And first of all, I want to shout out to my boy Art Burton. I'll tell you that if you have not friended Art Burton, if you want to get some information about African history and culture, the worldwide, but specifically as it relates to Native Americans and Native Africans and the different tribes, World War I and World War II, Art Burton is a great person to friend because he's always posting book titles and things of that nature. So I just want to talk a little bit about some of the things that he posted. The 92nd Infantry Division there's a picture out there on my wall of a captured German soldier. It's kind of fascinating, and I'll go into this. When you look and see that captured soldier, does he really look like a soldier? Okay. He also shared memories of the only Negro infantry division to fight in Europe during World War II, Black Warriors, the Buffalo Soldiers of World War II, by Ivan J. Houston. Now, I've not read that book, but I'm going to reach out and try and find that book because I'd like to read it. And here's why that's important. Because see, what they don't tell you, and we've talked a little bit about what happened in Elaine, Arkansas, and that confrontation was initiated by white farmers who wanted their land. But the men who stood up and defended that land were former World War I veterans. The same thing occurred in Tulsa, and I would not be surprised if it occurred in many of these attacks on black communities that happened in the 1900s, the early 1900s, okay? So the point you try to make here is that black men went and fought for their right, or at least for the white man's right to be free. You get that, right? Even though those black men who laid their lives on the line, many of them died during World War II, by the way, who couldn't come back and eat at restaurants, okay? Who couldn't come back and ride a bus. You remember World War II was It started in 39 and ended in 45, okay? So think about what was going on in America at that time for black people. Think about how many went and fought. Think about how many men left their children, their families, their wives to go and fight for an America who wouldn't fight for them. But that's some deep stuff, isn't it? That's some deep stuff. And they couldn't come home and be treated like heroes. Think about that. Couldn't come home and be treated like heroes. We've all seen the stories of the Red Tails, right? The story is that the Red Tails never lost a bomber. Some of them died, but they protected their cargo. The story is that when black men would capture Germans and they would load them on trains, they would have to give up their seats. These are black World War II veterans. They would have to give up their seats okay, for the enemy that was trying to kill them. Think about Dr. Charles Drew, who developed blood plasma that saved the lives. By the way, Dr. Charles Drew, a black man who saved the lives of quite a few veterans. So as we talk about D-Day today, it is important that we recognize that blacks per capita has fought in every war that the United States has ever had. They fought in every war. And in fact, the continent of Africa is the only continent that has never waged war on the United States, the continent of black people. Just about every other one has. Just about every other country has. Yet they call us unpatriotic simply because we want to be treated as Americans. 855-525-5683 is the number, and that's our Black Fact for today.
Keep listening to Black Focus Radio for more dynamic Black facts, our culture, our history, our people on JoyNetRadio.com.
And don't forget, if you'd like to sponsor Dynamic Black Facts, you certainly can do so. Give me a call at 615-554-0568, and we'll get that taken care of, okay? All right. All right, so let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll jump into some other conversation. I got a lot of headlines I want to talk to you about. Man, I tell you, some of them, we've really lost our minds. But, you know, I guess you could say, Dave, what else is new?
Hey friends, Father's Day is right around the corner, and Coleman's Dynamic Products is offering a dynamic gift just for Dad. Pick 6 for Dad. Any 6 items in my product line. Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub, Dust, Juice, Nuts, Batter, you name it, all for only $29.95 plus shipping and handling. Upgrade to Pick 10 for only $39.95. Pick 6 for Dad. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special. Dad and you will be glad you did. Each purchase receives a Coleman's Dynamic downloadable cookbook. We want to say Happy Father's Day for all the great fathers out there. And while you enjoy your day, don't forget to bake it, grill it, smoke it, oh yeah, with Coleman's Dynamic product. Pick 6 or pick 10. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special.
This is attorney Danielle Walker from the Walker Law Firm. Are you drowning in debt? Is your debt becoming unmanageable? Are you struggling to make ends meet? It might be time to consider bankruptcy options. Call me at 501-374-1448 and let me provide you with the professional legal guidance and help protect you from foreclosure, harassing bill collectors, repossessions, wage garnishments, and more. I have a proven record of serving clients just like you for over 20 years. I'm conveniently located downtown Little Rock at 323 Center Street, Suite 1020. Call today for a free, no obligation consultation. 501-374-1448, 501-374-1448, 501-374-1448. This is attorney Danielle Walker from the Walker Law Firm, and let me help you.
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes all of Arkadelphia and Arkansas in Clark County since 1966. At Mitchell Funeral Home, they understand that the funeral is a celebration of life and legacy, so the entire staff takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional services they provide. Cremations, funeral planning, burial policy, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are just a few of the services they offer. Flexible packages are available as well. Mitchell Funeral Home appreciates the trust and confidence placed in them and will continue to enhance their services. so as to serve you better. Call now. Get connected. 870-246-2611. That's 870-246-2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we're needed. Call us now. Let's walk through this together. 870-246-2611. It's quality you can appreciate and service you can depend on at Mitchell Funeral Home.
Fill your home for the holidays with Bedrock Mattress and More. Bundle and save for every room in your home. Package deals just in time for the holidays. Our first bundle starting at $598. Perfect for a dorm room. Bundle deal 2, only $15.99. Enough to fill your first apartment. And fill your home with our third bundle starting at only $24.99. Come get these deals while they last. Special pricing going on now through the end of the year. Celebrate this holiday season with something new from Bedrock Mattress and More. 3901 South University in Little Rock.
I'm attorney Lewis Thompson from the Thompson Law Firm, and I want to help with your legal matters. Whether it's criminal defense, bankruptcy, personal injury, or family law, I want to help you. I can be reached at 501-503-5095. Don't face your legal issues alone. You need an attorney whose primary objective is to provide you with the best legal representation. Our office address is 415 North McKinley, Suite 710 in Little Rock. I'm attorney Theodore Thompson, and I want to provide you with the best legal representation.
All right, welcome back to the show, Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. Just throw another name out there, Waverly Woodson Jr. He served as a medic on Omaha Beach during the Operation Overlord in 1944. Waverly Woodson Jr. was a black soldier. While under heavy machine gun fire, Waverly Woodson Jr. treated over 200 men and saved quite a few of them. The sad thing about Waverly Woodson Jr. is that he was deprived of the Medal of Honor. Yeah. Don't tell me black folks are not patriotic. I'm just not hearing that noise. You can try to say it, but I got prima facie evidence that dates back through the history of this country, just how patriotic black people are to this country, a country that has oftentimes, on any occasion that it could, turn its back on black people. And it's doing so today with that fool in the White House. So miss me with that argument that black people aren't patriotic. That dog just ain't gonna hunt for me. Okay? It's just not gonna hunt. Now, a couple of things I want to talk about. Some of them are kind of funny. Some of them aren't. A couple of things, believe it or not, relates to or deals with sports. And although we try to keep most of the commentary relating to sports on Saturdays on the weekly sports magazine, there are times when things occur that require our attention on Black Focus Radio because it crosses into that genre or that domain, I should say. So we'll talk about a couple of those things today as well. Where do we start? We are going to talk a little bit about Botham Jean's mother. She finally breaks her silence on the Amber Geiger's 911 call. I want to talk about that because unfortunately, as it relates right now, all of the conversation is about police, but the backdrop really is about racism and how, as I've said often, and many other great scholars have said often, that racism permeates throughout everything that we do in this country. Okay? So let's start with the Oregon bill. Have you all heard about this? This is according to USA Today. Oregon bill would allow victims of racially motivated 911 calls to sue their caller. Okay? Let me say that again. The Oregon bill would allow people to sue callers who call 911 on black people just because they think black people are not supposed to be there. Okay? So we've seen that a lot as of late. It's happened more than we know. It just so happens, again, just like police brutality has happened more than we know. The only difference is that people have cell phones now that can record some of this mess. If you would ask, if someone came up to you, just think about your most outlandish story that you've seen via video, okay? What would that be? Now, what if someone came up to you and told you that story? What if that happened? Okay? What if someone came up to you and said, man, this guy was in Walmart and he was shooting at the police. Police came in and shot and killed him. You're like, yeah, man, right. Or if we believe some of the stories that some of these police say in their reports. When we see the video, quite often it doesn't match up with their stories. And this could apply to anything where someone is describing something that they may have seen, but you're like, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So these people are making all of these crazy accusations and getting people arrested. In some respect, getting people killed. You know, I mentioned Walmart. Remember the story of the young man who was in Walmart, went to the toy, and this happened in Ohio, went to the toy section, picked up a BB gun. This guy calls the police, says that there is a shooter in Walmart, and the shooter actually aimed the gun at him. Police rush in, shoot and kill him. When the videotape comes out, it's nothing of the sort. So here's a man who had a young child who was killed because he was basically browsing in Walmart and happened to go to the toy section that had a BB gun, which he picked up. And because he was black, a white guy called the police, and now that man is dead and a child is growing up without its father. By the way, the caller didn't spend 1 minute in jail. Think about that. So this law in Oregon, I think it's definitely appropriate. It needs to run across every state. Now, whether to do that, I don't know, but maybe this is the beginning. Now, let's be honest. Oregon is a different state than, let's say, Arkansas or Tennessee or Mississippi, because down south, they thrive on this kind of mess. Now, that doesn't absolve Oregon and some of the racism that goes on, because as we talked about the survey or the study that went out a week or so ago saying that white people are more racist in the South than black than in other places, that's debunked. White people are racist everywhere in America. That's been proven over and over again. But the fact of the matter, this would be a good law to pass throughout any state legislature, okay? Because people are getting shot and killed. People are losing their lives over some BS. And that should not be happening. 855-525-5683 is the number. We're going to go out and take a quick break. Tell you what, I'll be right back. I just got to go and open the door. Back in a moment. Okay, sorry about that brief interlude, but I think it's a great law, and I think it needs to be passed throughout the state legislature. And by the way, Robert Webb is in the hizzy with us today.
Hey, what's up, Black?
How you doing? I thought maybe you may have gotten caught in the flood. Look at you, got your Little Rock Central,
Here to the old
1987 reunion. You know, our reunion is next weekend, as a matter of fact.
Was it your 50?
My 40th, and you better hope you get to your 40th. How about that? Yeah. Okay. Some of y'all ain't making it.
Somebody a little spicy this
I'm
morning.
just letting y'all know. Some of y'all ain't making it. You know what I'm saying?
Some of y'all a little
Jackie
spicy.
says hi, by the way.
What's up, Jay?
So let me ask you a question. I don't know if you heard of it. And this is what I'm talking about right now. Oregon has moved to crack down on what do they call them? Barbecue Betties and Petty Park Patty and all those people who call police on unsuspecting black people for black people being black people. So Oregon is about to pass a law that will crack down, and let's see, victims of those police calls would be able to sue the caller for up to $250 under a measure overwhelmingly approved by the state Senate. The move is a joint effort by the Oregon legislature's only 3 black lawmakers and is meant to shine a spotlight on an issue African Americans have known for far too long. Okay? When someone gets the police called on them for just existing in public, it sends a message that you don't belong there, according to Janelle Bynum, who helped sponsor the law. A black family in Oakland had the cops called on them for barbecuing in a park. A Yale graduate student was questioned for sleeping in her dorm, in the dorm's common room, and a pair of black men were arrested in a Philadelphia Starbucks after one of them tried to use the restroom. So those are just a couple of examples of why this is so dangerous. And you know, I was talking about the guy in Ohio who was in the Walmart who got shot by the police and killed because this white guy called the police on him because they said that he had a weapon, and come to find out that he had picked up a toy gun in Walmart and was playing with it. And the caller said that the guy had actually trained the weapon on him and was about to shoot people. Now, that guy who called 911 did not serve any time, has not had any repercussions whatsoever. This is why this law is so important. What are your thoughts?
I like when you do that, Alcatraz. What are your thoughts?
There you go.
I honestly don't have any. I mean, yeah, that's too common. I think the law itself sounds good on its face, but if you're only going to charge, if it's a max penalty of $250, I mean, I could do away with $250 to get one of y'all shot.
Well,
I understand the measure. I mean, if they're where are they in Colorado?
they're in Oregon.
They ain't gonna pass.
It's already passed.
The ordinance passed.
Yeah, it's a law. It's a state law.
Read it to me again.
Okay. Let's see. Victims of the police calls would be able to sue the caller for $250 under an overwhelmingly approved and was overwhelmingly approved by the state Senate.
Overwhelmingly approved. Okay,
So I'm assuming it passed.
$250.
You know, it ain't much, but at least think about it from this perspective. The other thing that I got out of the story is the fact that, like
Why
you
did
said,
see, if it had been something else, they would have said you had to be sentenced up to a year in prison. But all the thing they're saying is they're just going to charge you. You know, we're just going to charge you $250. I think there should have been levels to it. If your car results in the death, you know, I mean, there should have been levels to this. I mean, because we know how these things happen. I mean, there should have been levels to it.
John Crawford, by the way, that's the guy that was shot in Walmart.
Okay.
That I wanted to get his name right. I don't know, this computer is acting up over here. But I agree with you. Maybe there should have been levels to it. And that does make sense.
I'm surprised it passed, honestly.
I am too, but particularly in Oregon, because people tend to believe that the Great Northwest, well, it's really called the Great North White West, you know, by some people up there. But it passed. But the other interesting thing about it, only 3 black lawmakers.
Yeah, that's not surprising. That is surprising to me.
You see what I'm
I
saying?
am surprised by that.
So there are other states that have more than 3 black lawmakers and can't get a bill passed. They get symbolism passed,
Right.
but that's not symbolism. That's, even though it doesn't go, in my opinion, and I think we both agree, that it doesn't go far enough. Because as you said, just like John Crawford, you know, John Crawford was in Walmart minding his own business when a racist decided that, hey, there's a black guy with a gun and he's trying to shoot me. Police rush in, and in less than a few seconds, bang, 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 he's dead.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that.
So I totally agree with you. So if, and maybe there are writers that can come after the fact, I guess the initial thing was, hey, let's get something passed and make a statement, okay? And then let's develop, as they do many laws, they develop them as they go. Because you're right, if someone calls 911, I mean, I'm thinking about the guy who was picking up trash in his own yard, and police show up.
Show up and kill him.
And well, they didn't kill this particular guy, but had guns trained on him. I'm thinking about the other guy who the police, he's playing football in his front yard with the kids and his dog. Police just drive up and say, hey, you have a warrant in Louisiana. You know, these instances recur on a regular basis.
Right.
So I think this is a good step in the right direction. It could be, you know, it could be nothing, but
Well, I like to look at. I like to kind of go through the legislation. So I'm gonna look at it tonight and kind of go through the legislation.
okay.
See what's up.
Let's see. Bynum proposed the legislation after being on the receiving end of such a call. Okay. I remember this. Okay, so this was her. All right. She was canvassing door to door for her re-election campaign last year when a woman called 911 because Bynum looked suspicious.
Okay.
So, what is looking suspicious?
She was black.
There you go. She said although she was able to get an apology from the woman, she realized that most people have no way to hold these callers accountable. This creates a legal pathway to justice for those of us who have to worry about getting the cops called on us for simply existing in public. Victims of the calls must be able to prove the caller had racial intent and that the caller summoned a police officer.
That's the problem right there.
That's
That's
why I
the
read
problem
the
right there.
And to purposely discriminate or damage a person's reputation. So I will promise you, and I don't know this to be true,
That's
that
another
was the
piece of
Republican
symbolic
writers
legislation.
right there.
Yeah, that's another
Yeah.
symbolic legislation.
Because it's kind of like charging
How can you prove racism?
well, how can you it's kind of like charging a hate crime. You know, someone can go out and kill all black folks, but if you don't have any evidence that he hated black folks,
Right. Unless he stated somewhere that he was part of a white supremacist
Exactly.
group or
Exactly.
he wrote some kind of hate letter. That's hard to prove it. Right?
exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
So I thought it was interesting. So maybe it's a step in the right direction, but it's certainly worth reviewing.
It is.
Okay.
Without a doubt. I didn't think it passed. I'm just shocked it passed.
Yeah.
Now I see why it
Yeah.
passed.
Yeah.
You have to prove racism.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting when they have their first case. I want to see how
Because,
that works.
well, let's see if it happens. Maybe will it be to me $250 isn't a deterrent.
No, it's not a deterrent.
Okay.
But even
if
more
it would have
so-
been $1,000,
I don't think so. I think if you really want to, I think there should have been levels to it. If you make a call and that call results in someone's imprisonment or death, and then that should be something else. Charges should be pressed against it. I think you have to have levels to it. I mean, yeah. If you want to give them $250 for just a call that results in just the police showing up and identifying that there is no threat, that's cool. $250
Right.
for that. But the more you escalate, the worse it should get. I mean,
I
that's
agree
like
with
with
you.
any. That's just like
Yeah.
with any crime, right?
yeah, I agree with you.
Just depends on what you're doing. It
I agree.
escalates, right?
Yeah, because again, John Crawford's caller, 911 caller,
Got
he's
killed.
he's living his best life right now.
And he has no repercussions from it.
He had none whatsoever, and that's sad. In fact, I don't think even the mother, I don't think even John Crawford's girlfriend, who's the mother of his child, could even sue him if I remember correctly. So that's kind of sad. Here's a story close to home. I thought that was kind of weird. Did you hear about what happened in North Little Rock? Fire set, daughter dunked in flooded Arkansas River, police say. Mom jailed. A North Little Rock woman is accused of setting her apartment on fire, then sending her 8-year-old daughter inside to get a cell phone and dunking the child in the flooded Arkansas River.
Do what? How'd she do that?
North Little Rock police officers arrested Fitzgerald Olivia Moore on Wednesday on charges of arson and endangering the welfare of a minor. Moore told officers that she made her child strip naked and then dipped her in the flooded river because she was going to better places. Moore said,
Something's not right with her.
yeah, Moore said she was attempting to baptize her child. Moore also told police officers that she set her apartment on fire because God said he was going to burn everything and she was just helping him. Moore later made the child walk through the burned apartment to fetch a cell phone. Officers arrested Moore at an apartment on Rockwater Boulevard. Moore is being held without bond in Pulaski County. So, wow.
What's her name again?
Fitzgerald Moore.
I want to look at her. Something's wrong.
That's her name. So that happened right here in Little Rock. I mean, wow. Don't know what to say about that. I just thought that was just peculiar, a peculiar story. It does bring up a quick comment about mental illness. Now, I don't know if anyone knows.
What's her last name? Moore?
Moore, yeah. I don't know if anyone knows this young lady, but if you do, or if you did, were you paying attention? And what I mean by that is that quite often, people who are having mental problems, they show signs, and quite often we simply ignore them. We don't pay attention to them, or we'll kind of write it off as saying, oh, that's just them. Every now and then you have to just reach out and say, are you okay? Okay? And I've done that for people on Facebook, believe it or not. I don't, and you know, there are people on my timeline that have befriended me. I don't know them. And they have posted some things that you like, you know, things that may seem to be depressive, that they are relating to depressed. I remember a friend posted something that they're just ready to get it over with and nothing goes right. And I reached out to that friend in DM and said, hey, are you okay? I said, look, I don't mean anything. I just want to know if you're okay. And a couple of months later, they responded back and said, hey, I really appreciate you doing that. I was going through a rough time at the time. Okay?
Yeah, man, I think she has some kind of psychotic break.
Yeah. So we need to be paying attention. This is a tough time. I mean, this flood is stressing a lot of people out. It may not be stressing you out where you are, but apparently she's over there on Rockwater Boulevard. I mean, that's pretty close to the river. She had to be if she's able to dunk her daughter in it.
1621 Rockwater.
You know,
I don't know what it is. What is it over by the river?
Well, I know that Rockwater Development is over there behind, going towards Pike.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it's in that area. I don't know. But she had to be relatively close in order to dunk her daughter into that
She had
river.
a break because they only charged her with arson and endangering of the welfare
Yeah.
of minors. So they only charged her with 2 things.
Yeah, so that's...
She must have had a psychotic break.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, folks, I mean, there's a lot of stress going on, not just, just in regular life. And then you throw in something that's happening like this flood, and if and think about it from this perspective, some of those people don't have insurance. Everything that they no longer have was all they had.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And to see that go up like that, it could be disconcerting. Now, again, I don't know if this was the case for this young lady, but it's certainly concerning for her to do a child like that. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think it speaks to a broader question. is that we need to start helping each other with these children, man. Whatever you can do, man. Try to help out your friend. If that's your friend and you know they going, hey, come on, let me take little Johnny and little Sarah to Chuck E. Cheese or whatever the case may be. All right?
Sound good.
You know, I'm just saying, I don't know what we can do, but I know someone who suffered from mental illness. I know someone who suffered from depression. That someone was me, is me, and fortunately for me, I got help. And I have coping mechanisms that I use that when I feel like that I'm getting depressed, I know how to not necessarily pull my way out of it, because depression is a natural emotion. It's just that when you dwell on it, that's when it can become debilitating. So I've learned through a lot of, hey, I'll be honest, I went to a psychologist to learn how to cope with things when things don't go the way you think it should, or when you have a calamity in your life. All of those things can become very depressive, which reminds me, I read an article the other day about black men and depression. And by the way, I did post that on my wall. You're going to have to scroll down a little bit to read that article, but I would advise you to read it. And I've said for years that black men live in a constant state of depression. And it doesn't matter what type of socioeconomic background you're in. Everything that you have can be taken away at a moment's notice. And we, you know, and not to go back on when they see us, but that's a classic example of that. And not necessarily those boys, but the father you talked about, who all of a sudden what he had dealt with now can be brought back up, and the life that he had built for his family can be taken away at a moment's notice. And black people in general, but black men particularly, because of the stresses of what they tell you a man should be. He ought to be able to do this. A man should be able to do that. And understanding that your rise in some respect as a black man is hindered by white supremacy. And it's always over you. You know, furthermore, as my daughter had done a study about PTSD in some of the urban developments, I would argue, and we've talked about this on the show, Robert, that I would argue that PTSD exists in particular communities where there's gun violence, where people have seen guns, seen relatives killed. It can be a bit disconcerting, to say the least. I'll never forget when I saw a relative of mine who had been shot right here with a .38 caliber pistol. Yeah. And I saw him at the hospital, and at the time, I want to say I was about 11 or 12. And I'm gonna tell you, I didn't sleep for a few days.
So I gotta give a quick shout out, man. So I meant to tell you about this. I gotta give a quick shout out before I forget. But since Higgins got elected as Pulaski County Sheriff, he has reduced. If you go through and look at the inmates and why they're in the county, usually when Doc was there, not saying it was Doc's fault, but when Doc was there, you'd find that you had a lot of guys in there for misdemeanor charges. If you go through and look at this, if you go through and look since Eric's taken over, you find that a lot less people are there for misdemeanor charges. Most of the people there now are there being held for if they're a violent crime or if they're being held for parole violations. So I just want to give a big shout out to Chief Higgins and his crew over at Pulaski County. Keep up the good work, Blair.
No doubt about that. And it's funny you bring that up because about an hour ago, I said we need to get him on the show. I think it would be great to get him on the show. Can you assist in that? Yeah, let's try to get him on the show. I'd love to talk to him as well because you're talking about a way to cut your budget. You're talking about a way to cut your operating expense. Get those people out of there who are non-violent offenders. Why are you having people in jail who got arrested for smoking a joint or having a bag of weed, you know, or couldn't get their license and had license expired. You know, all of these little petty things that people are being thrown in jail about, that doesn't make any sense. At the end of the day, that's our tax dollars. So every guy or every person that's in jail, that's more money that you, the taxpayer, has to pay. So I agree with you. Shout out to him for looking at guys that, although have committed, and I would assume not just guys, but guys and women, who have committed non-violent offenses, who don't need to be sitting in a jail cell on the public dole. So no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
I'm looking at most of these guys, you know, failure to pay fine, misdemeanor, failure to appear, and like this guy he does have misdemeanor commitments, but he's also been held for probation revocation. So,
right.
You know, those you understand. Mm-hmm. But there are some guys who you'll go through and you look at their charges and it'll say, you know, misdemeanor possession.
Right.
Different things like that we shouldn't be paying for. And before we were paying for those things, but now, even though our numbers are a lot higher than they were before, maybe this is the summer, so the numbers do increase in the summer. But he's not holding people just because they have a. Usually, it's really notorious with women. Black women are also held, for like misdemeanor crimes. See, mostly everybody now is all probation violation.
And part of that is
that's really good.
Right, and part of that is they're being held because you mentioned that they can't pay fines. You know, they can't afford. Right. You know, look, they can't afford to pay fines. You know, and there are some courts that will give you time to pay. Where if you're talking about a mother who has 3 kids and living on public assistance and living from whatever allotment they give her month to month, and she gets busted for smoking a joint,
right.
You know, she can't afford to pay that fine. Let's be realistic about that. And that's just not black women, that's white women as well. So I think it's a great idea. I think it's long overdue, and you're certainly going to have to start addressing this, because now, look, you live in a state of Arkansas that has legalized marijuana. And it goes back to what board member Richardson was talking about, months ago when he addressed the police department at that point and said, hey, look, why are you pursuing people on, marijuana crimes? It doesn't make any sense. And, it takes away from the manpower that could be somewhere else. Pursue them for cocaine, heroin. Barbiturates, all of these illegal. What I'd like to see you do is start pursuing some of these doctors, but that's another show for another day. But it makes all the sense in the world to do it this way, because you're even seeing corporations now who they've realized the millions of dollars that they've spent on drug testing, right? Mm-hmm. Many of these corporations are not even, if they're drug testing, marijuana is not a automatic no at this point anymore, and rightfully so. Right. Because we're seeing more and more and more, and we know many of them, because it ain't all little black people smoking pot. There's a whole lot of pot that's grown in America and imported in America, and that's not coming from that's not going down the lungs of black people. So let's be realistic about this. So you're going to see more and more changes, and I think rightfully so, as the laws evolve relating to this. 855-525-5683 is the number. And it reminds me of Chris Long, who just retired from the Philadelphia Eagles. Chris Long was one of the white players, one of the few white players who stood with Colin Kaepernick and supported Colin Kaepernick, right, and supported his players, and vocally said he did. He finally comes out and said basically that, yeah, he smoked a lot of pot, which kind of weird how he was never, cited for violation, but as far as league standards are concerned. But
if you know in advance that you're going to have a drug test.
Well, they're supposed to be random.
Yeah, ain't nothing random. That's what they said in college.
They're supposed to be random.
Coach
okay.
Tells you, hey, you're going to have a drug test next Thursday.
Yeah. So, needless to say, attitudes are changing, and certainly the policies that are changing. Because I would argue that there are a lot of tech companies. They got a whole lot of potheads. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So of all the ones I've saw so far, I've only seen one, and this guy's in there for robbery, so that makes sense.
Okay.
But,
Eight.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, that's it. I mean, you got a lot of, like I said before, man. You'd have guys who had probation, not probation, but they had failure to appear in court, in traffic court, and they'd be in jail to
Yeah.
bail out. And so, I'd like to say under Eric, we haven't seen that as much. And that could be, now let me be honest, that could be because it's the summertime and we have so many commitments to hold over for jail. So that could be part of the reason. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that could be.
Well, so from the time that you get arrested, how long, you have 30 days to have your hearing, right? Is that, somebody help me out, is that correct?
I'm not sure. From the time you're arrested?
Yes.
You get a hearing.
You get a hearing, you should get a hearing within 48 hours.
Yeah, you get a hearing.
If I remember correctly. All right. So at the hearing, why would they deny someone who is traffic tickets bail?
Usually, in most cases with traffic tickets, you're automatic, unless you have a failure to appear, they're going to cut you loose. And if you have a failure to appear, then if they arrest you tonight, then more than likely you'll go to court in the morning.
In the morning.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I know you probably spent a little time down there, so I thought you know those
Just
things.
Just a little bit. That's funny. All right, player.
I just playing, man. I
got
just
you,
playing.
player.
855-525-5683. Since I brought up Chris Long, let me quickly cover this before we go to the top of the hour. So Steve Blass is a announcer for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Atlanta Braves have a very flamboyant, well, I wouldn't even call him flamboyant. His name is Ronald Acuna Jr., and he's a darn good baseball player, and he wears a lot of jewelry around his neck, okay, as do many players do, okay, but for some reason or another, yesterday, Mr. Blass decided that, and at this at-bat, Acuna was hit by a pitch. And Mr. Blass said that he deserved to be intentionally hit by a pitch because of all the jewelry and stuff.
Was that a joke?
No, he was serious. And of course, some people suggest racial overtones, but the one thing about the interweb, that it's never undefeated or defeated, I should say. And of course, they bring up multiple images of white players who wear jewelry as well, gold chains and things of that nature. So I found that interesting, to say the least, as it relates, because again, as we talk about white supremacy, you realize that it really does permeate through everything that we do, okay? The other thing is, did you hear about Le'Veon Bell? Le'Veon Bell's girlfriends, plural, vanished with $500,000 of jewelry. Two girlfriends of Jet star running back Le'Veon Bell stole more than $500,000 in jewels from his Florida home, including a Black Panther pendant and chain, authorities said Wednesday. The women were with Bell at his Hollywood home on May 25th when he left to go to the gym. When Bell came back to the house, his closet was in disarray and all of his jewelry was missing. $520,000 worth of jewels, including a Black Panther pendant, 2 gold chains with diamonds, and a Rolex watch. Police are reportedly investigating the incident. Bell linked a 4-year, but he's got a $52 million contract. So I'm asking a quick question. Do you think they were really his girlfriends? Because think about it from this perspective. If you've been fortunate enough to hook an NFL player or a professional athlete or a professional musician, anybody that's making that kind of bank, don't you realize that it's better to hang on than to hit and run.
Now, if you got a plan, she probably had a plan.
Well, it's two of them.
She probably-
That's why I said, do you think they were really his girlfriends?
Well, he paying them to his girlfriend.
I'm just wondering. You know what I'm
They
saying?
are his women.
And then, of course, you leave them at your house.
Yeah,
Really, dude?
yeah,
Man.
yeah,
You know, sometimes you get what you get
yeah, yeah. It is what it is.
because you understand what I'm saying. If they're if she's your girlfriend, number one, I'm still gonna be reluctant to leave her at my house. She's gonna be a long time girlfriend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, that makes sense, man. But like I said, though, man, maybe he had other things he needed to do, and he just needed to leave his girl let her hook him up.
one other sports news note: did you watch the game last night?
No,
You did not.
no, I did not. Well,
Any-
I have no need to watch the game.
Why?
Ain't nobody playing. I want to see.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So you didn't see the incident with Kyle Lowry and a fan.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. When a fan pushed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Why do you do that, man?
Because it's a talk show.
It's like you're trying to provoke me. Your thoughts, Robert. What do you think, Robert? Are you going to kill him? Ah!
It's a talk show. I tell you what. Hold your thoughts. That way you can kind of get them together. Since I did surprise you. Okay.
That's no surprise with that one.
When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about what happened at the Golden State game. Not the score, but how fans are getting out of hand, and somebody gonna lay hands. That's already happened once before. Okay.
My boy Ron Artest.
All right.
World
Y'all-
Be Free.
Y'all hadn't learned.
Nah, it wasn't World Be Free. What's this? I can't remember.
I forgot the other one, but it was Ron Artest and Steven Jackson was in that.
Steven Jackson.
And I forgot there was one other person that was involved. But we'll get all that information for you at the top of after the break here in just a moment. You're listening to Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices on JoyNetRadio.com.
That sounds sinister. That sounds sinister when you do that. That's why I be like, what the fuck? You be like, and your thoughts. Walter Cartwright, and your thoughts. You're like, what the hell?
Hey friends, Father's Day is
All right, so
around
now,
the corner, and Coleman's
Malice in the
Products
Palace.
is
Let's look
offering
that
a
up.
dynamic gift just for Dad. Pick 6 for Dad. Any 6 items in my product line: Coleman's dynamic rib rub, dust, juice, nuts, batter, and you name it, all for only $29.95 plus shipping and handling. Upgrade to Pick 10 for only $39.95. Pick 6 for Dad. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special.
Ben Wallace,
and you
Ron
will be
Artest.
glad you did. Each
Okay,
purchase
there it is.
receives a Coleman's Dynamic downloadable cookbook. We want to say Happy Father's Day for all the great fathers out there. And while you enjoy,
Don't forget I'm leaving the 13th of next week. I'll be back on the
smoke it.
24th.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
With Coleman's Dynamic.
After the fight was broken up, a fan threw a drink from the stands at Artest while he was lying on the scores table. Artest immediately charged the fan, sparking a massive brawl between players.
This is attorney Danielle
Between
Walker.
players and spectators that stretched into the seats.
Who was it, Ron Artest and who?
Ron Artest. The fight started with Ron Artest and Ben Wallace. But Ron Artest is the one that charged the stands. But if I remember correctly, Steven Jackson was in those stands too.
Wage garnishment,
Steven
and
Jackson's
more. I
up
have
there,
a
too.
proven record of serving clients just like you for over
There was somebody
20
else
years.
with
I'm
him.
conveniently located downtown Little Rock
Go
at
down to the bottom where it says,
323
go down to the
Central
bottom.
Street,
Look
Suite
at the name,
1020.
man. Right there, right there.
For a free, no obligation consultation. 501-374-1448. 501
Okay, let's see. Artest jumped the table, ran into the stands, and grabbed a plastic. Man, Michael Ryan, who he mistakenly believed was responsible. Boy stood up to try
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes
to hold
all
back
of
Artest
Philadelphia
and was
and
trampled in an
Arkansas.
effort,
In Clark County
suffering
since
5 fractured
1966.
vertebrae
At
and
Mitchell Funeral
a
Home, they
gouge
understand
on his
that
head.
funeral is a
Jackson followed
celebration of
Artest
life
into the
and
stands
so the
and
entire
punched it. I thought he was
cast
in
takes
there.
great pride in
Punched the fan,
carrying
William
personal
Paulson,
and professional
in the face
services they
in
provide
retaliation for the man throwing another drink
burial
in
policies,
Artest's
life
face
insurance,
while he was being
and
restrained by
monument
the
sales are just a few
spectators.
of the services they offer.
Pacer players
Metro
Eddie
Package is
Gill,
available as well.
David
Mitchell
Harrison,
Funeral Home
Reggie Miller, who was not dressed for the game due to injury, Fred Jones, Jamal Tinsley, and Rasheed Wallace, and numerous personnel included. Also quickly understand. Okay, so there you go.
Call, click, or come.
So it was mainly Steven Jackson and Ron Artest. That's what I thought it was.
Call us now.
So Steven Jones,
Steven Jackson.
Yeah.
Which ironically now is on ESPN. And I saw a piece a while back where Ron Artest was talking about he wanted to coach in the NBA.
Our first bundle starting at $5.98.
So-
Perfect for a dorm room. Bundle deal
You might get a shot.
$50.99. Enough to fill your first
You don't think
apartment
so,
and fill your home.
I would be surprised,
$54.99.
but-
Cover these deals while they last. Special pricing going on now through the end of
He's got a history of being unstable and on medication. That just,
Mattress and more.
I don't know if I want to go that route.
South University.
If I'm an owner or GM.
I'm attorney Theodore Thompson from
Give him a shot.
Thompson Law Firm.
Can't
And I
hurt.
want to help with your legal
Can't do no
matter.
worse than
Whether it's criminal
no bigger
offense,
than that.
bankruptcy, personal injury.
Maybe not as far as win-loss, but
I can be
I don't know.
501.
That's-
503,
I don't know if I want that
5055.
pressure.
Don't base your legal issues.
But that's just
on
me.
law. You need an attorney whose primary objective is to provide you with the best legal representation. Our office address is 415 North McKinley, Suite 710 in Little Rock. I'm attorney Theodore Thompson, and I want to provide you with the best legal representation.
All right, welcome back to Black Focus Radio, the 1 o'clock edition. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us. We left the last hour talking a little bit about something that went on in the Golden State game. Obviously, the Toronto Raptors were able to win the game, but Kyle Lowry was retrieving a basketball, running as quite often players do, running towards a basketball, which took him into the front seats of a group of fans. One particular fan took it upon himself to shove Lowry. And it wasn't the fan whom in fact Lowry ran into trying to retrieve the basketball. In fact, the guy who was sitting at the seat where that Lowry plowed into, he actually tried to catch Lowry. There was a woman sitting right beside him who actually, once Lowry was able to get up, kind of patted him on the back, like, okay. But the gentleman sitting 2 seats over reached over and pushed Kyle Lowry. Now, Kyle Lowry didn't respond, thank goodness, because he would have been deemed the aggressor. And then, of course, the stadium, they ended up throwing the fan out of there. And we don't know if he's got a lifetime ban. So let me ask you a question. That stadium, that particular arena, holds 15, 16,000 people, maybe. So let's say you give me a lifetime ban. You say, okay, you can't come into my arena anymore, no matter what goes on in this arena. How are they going to know?
Because they check. They have facial recognition software at these games. You ever heard that?
You're talking to someone who covered the Tennessee
They
Titans.
have facial software recognition at those games, man.
You're talking to someone who covered the Nashville
Again, I'm going to
Predators.
say to you, they have facial recognition software at games. Bruh, really? You didn't know that?
No.
Check it out.
I covered the Tennessee Titans for 15
Check
years.
it out. Check it out.
And the Nashville Predators.
Check it out.
Attended many SEC football and basketball games.
Check it out. That's all I'm going to say. Check it out. Check it out, bruh. Check her out. Check her out. Check her out.
Okay. So Robert believes that they're going to have facial recognition
I don't
software.
believe. I know they do.
Okay. All right. So that's how
You
they'll
don't
know
believe me. You don't believe me.
that
I can't believe you down your boy.
That
bro.
I'm not. Hey, that's how you'll know, bro. I'm not down the brother. I'm not. But the bottom line is, and I was wondering what the attendance is. They usually post the attendance. I guess they only do that in college games. But the point is that this particular fan was thrown out, and apparently may get banned. Now, we saw something similar to this happen in Utah this year, and of course we saw, and everybody came after Westbrook because he really, took it to another level and dared the fan to come down and this, that, and the other. The NBA fined Westbrook, okay, and we've seen other leagues do that as well. So here's the problem. When you look at the NFL, when you look at all the other sports, there's usually a partition between fans and players. The NBA and basketball proper is the only one that does not have that. I've often said, remember, what do you mean?
Somebody said the question is, if the man is banned for life, does that include the new stadium where they would be moving?
Well, good point. That's an excellent point. Okay,
that's a good one. I like.
Excellent point. So, but I guess when you look at it overall, all of the other sports have basically a petition. Now, certainly in baseball, quite often you see people jump out of the stands and run onto the field, but still, that even happens rarely now. Basketball is the only one where fans are right there. If you've been watching this series of the Raptors this year, Drake is right there on the sidelines. At one point, Drake even gave the head coach a quasi-massage in the middle of the game.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I guess it would be if you're a Drake and a Raptors fan. But I guess the question that you need to start asking is whether or not, based on some of the things because have you ever been to a professional game?
Mm-hmm.
Have you had the honor or pleasure of sitting beside that fan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How comfortable or uncomfortable were you?
Honestly, it kind of makes the game kind of fun because they were loud and obnoxious. It was kind of cool.
So,
but again,
what were they saying?
That was a different level. The guy I was beside, he wasn't extremely disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I didn't think anything he said was disrespectful. I think it was all legitimate stuff. I mean, had I been sitting on the bench, I thought it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he more cracked jokes on that game, and he didn't talk about their mothers and their kids. And
right.
That kind of stuff.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
He talked about their game.
Right. But some people go as far as racial slurs, ethnic slurs. They do, and in Westbrook's particular case, relatives, friends, wives. It's just like now, people are posting memes with Steph Curry's wife. And I know have you seen some of these? So the latest one I saw this morning was, I think it was Kevin Garnett had her in it was Kawhi Leonard was holding her in his arms. Okay, I saw another one where they had a picture superimposed on an image, and the whole Raptors team was walking into a locker room. Now, funny, and I know what you're gonna say before you say it, so just because I'm telling you, they're gonna get mad at you. Okay,
What?
they were funny. I chuckled, but you're like, oh, that's kind of crossing the line there, So my point being is that just because you pay, I'm gonna let you go. I can see you're pensive there. Just because you buy a ticket for $60, it does not give you the right to say anything and everything to those guys. Because number one, you got to realize that although they're playing, they're doing a job. Mm-hmm. Okay, although you look at it as a game, that's their job. And just like you and I, we have issues that go on in our lives. And we sometimes bring that to work. Mm-hmm. And we don't know, and I go back to Ron Artest and Steven Jackson. We don't know what was going on in the mind of Ron Artest during that time period. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, we know that his image was that he was crazy. Mm-hmm. All right? I kind of doubt that. All right? But I think he bought into that image, as many guys do, and took it to the extreme. Dennis Rodman, in my opinion, is a classic example of that. Okay? So we don't know what's going on in those guys' heads. So when you're out there talking about their mamas or what you're gonna do with their wives or all of that stuff, $60 doesn't give you a license to do that.
You know, I remember when I first got into this, when I first got into the political arena, somebody pulled me aside one day and said, "You're gonna meet a lot of crazy out here.
Mm-hmm.
You can't let the crazy make you crazy."
Yep.
So, I mean, honestly, it's something that comes with the territory, and you have to. I mean, it's not easy, but you have to find a way not to let it get under your skin. It's not easy, but you have to find a way.
Yeah, and I think Kyle Lowry handled it
Yeah.
perfectly. If you all haven't seen the video, I mean, because Kyle Lowry could have fired off on him.
He should.
He
could have.
you know, he
Glad he didn't.
You know what? And I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't have been upset had he,
Well, you know,
but
if you catch the guy somewhere by himself, you know, it can always go down.
yeah, that's for sure. Because you got that facial recognition software on your iPhone, right?
Exactly. I got that software on my phone. It's
You know.
to go down, player. No, seriously, you need to check it out. They have facial recognition software in the games. So when they're panning, they got that software. They got that software popping, player. You think I'm lying? Okay, go ahead and check it out. You think I'm full of it?
When did this occur?
I want to say this could start about 7-8 years ago, Dave. Come on, Dave. Don't tell me you ain't up on. I know you up on everything.
I'm just saying, I've been in the bowels of Nissan Stadium in Nashville. I mean, I know that stadium backwards and forwards because I've been in it so long. I've been in all the suites.
And you just left how many years ago?
Going on 4 now.
So you
Okay.
mean to tell me that you never heard them talk about facial recognition software?
Oh, I've heard people talk about facial
No,
recognition
you
software.
never heard the Titans or anybody else talk about having
You know, I
Predators or anybody
I
else.
covered the Music City Bowl, and at one point was on the commission. I was one of the people who nominated the people for the Sportsman's of the Year awards and things of that nature. I mean, I was really plugged in the sports
You are the
environment
man about time.
in Nashville, you know, and so was my co-host.
And so, how did you not know about that day? Damn, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what to say to you right
See,
now.
that just goes to show you.
I don't know
All
what
you
to say
people
to you right
says that I think I know everything. See, that just proves I don't.
Yeah, you'll tell me tomorrow.
There you go.
You'll tell me tomorrow.
I'm just saying. But I'm glad Kyle Lowry, didn't fire off on the guy. But just so when that Sting concert comes to the new arena, this guy won't make it. There you go.
He might.
All right. And by the way, banning someone from a sporting event, how does that really hurt somebody? You know what I'm saying? Because nowadays,
Just save me $100.
that's what I'm
Well,
saying.
actually, probably more than that. by the
Well,
time
he
I
was
got-
sitting on the floor.
He was sitting on the floor, so you saved me probably about $4,000.
about 4,000-5,000, exactly.
I appreciate you, player.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then too, now I'm at the crib watching on my 50-inch TV. All I got to do now is
If he
go.
sit in the front row, he probably got an 80-inch TV.
Well, and here's the other thing: you paying $15 for a 16-ounce beer.
Yeah, so I probably spent $10,000.
You see what I'm saying? I'm not exaggerating at all.
Yeah.
Those prices at these professional events are expensive.
They are.
So when you throw that in, man, what they did him a favor
So we're going to the PGA, man. It's $150 for one ticket.
just for one ticket.
Yeah, for one day.
Wow.
One day.
You know, that's one thing that I've never done is go to a golfing event. So, but that gives you an example.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately for me, I never had to pay for a ticket because I had press passes.
Right.
But there were times when I had friends to come. Quick note, tell you, I know you want to go ahead and get yours bought, have your stuff taken care of. But this is what I tell people at every sporting event, every concert. You want to get cheap tickets? Wait till it tees off. Wait till the puck drops. Wait till they tip off. Wait till the kickoff. Those tickets depreciate almost 50% once the event starts.
I believe that.
Okay?
But I don't want to wait.
I know. And I'm saying that from someone who spent time in sports, someone who bought scalp tickets. I mean, in fact, I had some friends living in Nashville when Pittsburgh came to play the Titans. They were huge Pittsburgh fans, and I had them to to come up, and they wanted to buy the tickets in advance and say, hey man, y'all want to save about $100? I can save you some money. And of course, I had press passes, so I could get to the press box and we had reserved seats, so I wasn't worried about myself. So we get up there, they come up, we hang around till kickoff, and sure enough, tickets that were priced at $120, they got them for $60 a piece.
That makes perfect sense.
You know, so I know that works. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us. More sexual abuse from leaders from where?
From leaders?
Yeah, from church leaders from where?
Catholic Church.
Eh.
Not the Catholic Church this time? So some other preachers abusing kids? Who else?
Southern Baptists.
That's not uncommon. They got all the kids trying to do that. That's cool. Okay.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean it's cool?
Well, you always hear about Baptist preachers having, like 3 or 4 families within the church. That's not a big deal.
When did I say that?
Well, you getting ready to say that, right? Oh, my bad. You getting ready to say that, right? They just got one family in the church, or they got 2? Which one?
Is your mom listening?
I'm not apologizing for anything.
So, but I just find it interesting that, the focus has been on Catholic Church. But check this out. Okay. Let's see, where is it? All right. Those and many other survivors of sexual abuse suffered at the hands of leaders from Southern Baptist churches reached out after the Houston Chronicle and the San Antonio Express News published a series, Abuse of Faith, in February. The newspaper series revealed how more than 380 pastors, employees, and volunteers had been credibly accused, sued, and convicted of criminal offenses during the past 2 decades.
Really?
380.
Is that a Houston and San Antonio, or just?
That was, I'm assuming, in that area.
That's a lot.
Now, couple that with all of the, they left behind over 700 victims. Couple that with all of the Catholic churches. This is a problem.
It's not close, though.
Oh, it's not close. No, it's not, but that we know of.
Right.
Because, see, all while the Catholic churches were being exposed, nobody was talking about the Southern Baptist.
But again, man, that's money. That's money again. I mean,
that's why I brought it up, because I knew you were gonna say that.
But I mean, it is. That's money. I mean, if you have the revenue, if you have the resources, then you can make a lot of things go away.
And now we may understand why there is little or no outcry against the Catholic Church.
You mean from the Baptists,
from
the Methodists,
well, right, because
from the clergy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Now we understand. I think I don't know that to be true.
They all getting it in.
I don't know that to be true, but it just seems peculiar that.
But it does seem that if you want to abuse and molest people, you should be a priest, or you should be in some form of religion, because they seem to turn a blind eye to it.
Wow, if you've seen some of the videos of what's going on in Africa as it relates to religion, it's scary.
Yeah, religion's scary everywhere.
It's scary what some of those so-called, and these are black ministers.
Yeah, but religion is scary everywhere right now.
Oh, I agree.
I mean,
I
it's
agree.
scary everywhere.
I agree. I mean,
I think in a few years, I honestly believe we'll probably have some sort of holy war, because people are really going to the extreme.
Yeah. So you're talking about the Arab Taliban against the Christian Taliban.
Mm-hmm, pretty much. Yeah.
And I don't say that tongue in cheek either. So I agree. Other notes. You remember Bill Cosby, right?
No, who's that guy?
Well, Bill Cosby sitting in jail because of all these women he abused. By the way, Linda Fairstein,
mm-hmm.
the ghoul.
Did she come out and say Bill Cosby raped her too?
Well, come to find out that she helped Harvey Weinstein on some of his cases.
She helped him?
Yeah, I'll look at that article here in just a moment. But Weinstein apparently, according to the New York Times, the Harvey Weinstein sexual assault case has reached a pending $44 million resolution regarding several charges filed by alleged misconduct victims and the New York State's Attorney General's office. The source said 3 people closely involved in the matter have been briefed on settlement specifics, although a few details are missing. In case you hadn't been following this Harvey's case, he's facing criminal charges in New York based on sexual violence against 2 women. Beyond that, over 80 women have accused Harvey Weinstein of sexual harassment and or assault. Interestingly enough, this isn't the first deal that has come to the table. The New York Times reports that in 2018, Weinstein proposed a deal to his alleged victims to the sum of $90 million. However, that situation fell apart at the last minute. Yet Weinstein's current settlement has cut the previous one in half. It's now $44 million, and under these particular terms, $30 million would get dumped into a plaintiff pool for disbursement among alleged sexual harassment victims. But also, the pool is for any creditors or former employees seeking payment from Weinstein's former studio. The balance would go to legal fees for associates of Weinstein, including board members named as defendants in the lawsuit. So if Harvey finalizes the sexual agreement, insurance policies would then cover the $44 million. I'm waiting for your outrage, but I'll keep reading until it hits you. Okay.
No outrage here.
Okay. Reportedly, Weinstein hadn't returned comment. Okay. So that's the story. So do you detect anything peculiar out of that?
No. That's the way government works. If you have the money, that's the way justice is. If you have the money to make it work for you.
So would you say that Bill Cosby no doubt had the money?
But he didn't have the right complexion for the connection.
That's why I'm bringing this story up.
So, but I'm not upset about it.
Oh, I'm not either.
I don't. No.
Because see, the reason I do these stories, because I want black people to realize that there is a difference. And those white people who listen to the show, I want them to understand there is a difference. Do you think Bill Cosby could have cut not a $44 million check, but a $90 million check, which was the initial proposed settlement? Do you think Cosby could have done that?
Yeah, without a doubt.
And be done with it? So what I didn't hear in this story is that Weinstein is still going to face criminal charges and be sent to jail. Because Bill Cosby is Weinstein light, if we want to go there. You see what I'm saying? So how is it that Bill Cosby is spending time in jail? I think his number was 34, is that right? The number of women that allegedly accused him?
Yeah, I think they stopped counting 34.
Okay. Well, Weinstein was at 80. The ones that reported it. And he can cut a check. And by the way, he's not cutting a check. As the story says, that's going to be covered by insurance. So it's not going to cost him 1 penny. Really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
By the way, y'all who love Oprah, this was one of Oprah's boys. This is not going to cost him 1 penny. That's amazing to me. And if you don't think there's a double standard out there, then clearly you're not paying attention.
You should see double standard.
You know, you're not paying attention. Okay? It just boggles my mind. 855-525-5683 is a number. Let's see here. So the fallout continues. You know, yesterday we talked a little bit about the study that went out about police and their racism and their posting on Facebook. I'm curious, has any local media been enterprising enough to find out if there are any former or current LRPD people on that list?
I'm sure there are. I mean, but the thing is that they can't be terminated for their prejudice. They can't be, because I told you the Little Rock Police Department, the FOP, established that you can be openly racist. You can be openly racist as a Little Rock police officer. They set the precedent. They set the precedent. Precedent. I can't even say it.
Precedent.
Yeah.
So you said that a couple of times, and someone asked me, what did Robert mean by that? So explain that.
When the guy, jeez, I can't think of his name now. I can't think of the police officer's name, but he was down in the River Market, and a guy was making a recording, and he responded to those guys by calling them a bunch of jigaboos, and whatever else. He made all these other racial comments, and then he instructed them that he was on the Little Rock police officer. Well, he was later fired by the Little Rock Police Department. The Civil Service Commission rehired him. So they established that you can be openly racist as a Little Rock police officer.
Interesting.
So if some guy calls you a nigga, some police officer calls you a nigga, guess what? He's not going to be fired because they've already set the precedent that can happen.
So I've decided to. Little Rock's not on the list of the cities that they studied. Because while you were talking, I said, okay, I got to go find out. So here are the cities apparently that they looked at: Philadelphia, Dallas, St. Louis, Phoenix, York, Pennsylvania, Twin Falls, Idaho, Denison, Texas, and Lake County, Florida. Now, yesterday we talked about the black female police chief in Phoenix, Arizona, who saw the list, and many of the officers that were on there were hers. Although she didn't fire them, she's moved them to desk duty, so to speak. I think her comments were they're gonna do some desk type stuff, you know. But again, it speaks to what we're talking about with police brutality, is that if you typically espouse what you believe, and you typically act on those beliefs. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
So if police are espousing that type of stuff, doesn't it stand to reason that they act on that when they're out in the streets? I would think so.
I think so. I agree. But again, it's been established.
Well, it's a dangerous precedent. So I hate Little Rock isn't on there, because I'd be curious. 855-525-5683 is the number. We got to go out and take a break. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Black Focus Radio on JoyNetRadio.com.
I'm trying to find the video
Of oh, okay.
So you just heard what Jane had to say. What do you think? I mean, she went to him on March 6th. First of all, she took a long time to come forward. She took a long time to talk about it. But right after, she went up to him in a restaurant. She said, I hear people throwing on the N-word, and he popped up and said, that's right. Unashamed.
She's very brave to, approach a stranger like that. And I think it's
This is attorney Danielle Walker from the Walker Law Firm. Are you drowning in debt? Is your debt becoming unmanageable? Are you struggling to make ends meet? It might be time to consider bankruptcy options. Call me at 501-374-1448 and let me provide you with the professional legal guidance and help protect you from foreclosure, harassing bill collectors, repossession, wage garnishments, and more. I have a proven record of serving clients just like you for over 20 years. I'm conveniently located downtown Little Rock at 323 Center Street, Suite 1020. Call today for a free, no obligation consultation. 501-374-1448.
It's on YouTube?
501-374-1448. 501-374-1448. This is attorney Danielle Walker from the Walker Law Firm, and let me help you.
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes all of Arkadelphia and Arkansas in Clark County since 1966. At Mitchell Funeral Home, they understand that the funeral is a celebration of life and legacy, so the entire staff takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional services they provide. Cremations, funeral planning, burial policy, life insurance, notary, and
batteries are going
monument
out of
sales
this
are just a
thing.
few of the services they offer. Flexible
keyboard.
packages are available as well. Mitchell Funeral Home appreciates the trust and confidence placed in them and will continue to enhance their services so as to serve you better. Call now. Get connected. 870-246-2611. That's 870-246-2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we're needed. Call us now. Let's walk through this together. 870-246-2611. It's quality you can appreciate and service you can depend on at Mitchell Funeral Home.
Fill your home for the holidays with Bedrock Mattress and More. Bundle and save for every room in your home. Package deals just in time for the holidays. Our first bundle starting at $5.98. Perfect for a dorm room. Bundle deal 2, only $15.99. Enough to fill your first party. And fill your home with our first bundle starting at only $24.99. Come get these deals while they last. Special pricing going on now through the end of the year. Celebrate this holiday season with something new. Bedrock Mattress and More. 3901 South University in Little Rock.
So
Hi, I'm attorney.
This woman is a piece of crap, man.
And I want to help with your
So she did help.
whether it's bankruptcy, personal injury, or family law. I want to help you.
She did help Weinstein.
503-509. Don't pay too
I'll
much.
read it here in just a moment.
You need an attorney whose primary objective is to provide you with the best legal representation. Our office address is 415 North McKinley, Suite 710 in Little Rock. I'm attorney Theodore Thompson, and I want to provide you with the best legal representation.
Hey friends, Father's Day is right around the corner, and Coleman's Dynamic Products is offering a dynamic gift just for Dad. Pick 6 for Dad. Any 6 items in my product line. Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub, Dust, Juice, Nuts, Batter, you name it, all for only $29.95 plus shipping and handling. Upgrade to Pick 10 for only $39.95. Pick 6 for Dad. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special. Dad and you will be glad you did. Each purchase receives a Coleman's Dynamic downloadable cookbook. We want to say Happy Father's Day for all the great fathers out there. And while you enjoy your day, don't forget to bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah, with Coleman's Dynamic product. Pick 6 or pick 10. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special.
Okay, welcome back to the show. A few minutes ago in the show, you can call us up at 855-525-5683 is the number. You know, we were talking about
Hold on, let me find this video.
police.
I want y'all to hear this video. People don't believe it.
So Robert is looking for a video to back up his point about the Little Rock Police Department condones racism, apparently. So, it wouldn't be a surprise, considering the fact that, Charles Starks is about to be, he's getting ready to get his hearing at the Citizens Review Board, and white supremacists are saying that they're coming to Little Rock to support Charles Starks, yet the FOP and the Little Rock Police Department proper have not come out and said, hey, we don't want you guys here, you're troublemakers. Yet you train snipers on people, black people, who were protesting Charles Starks. Fascinating. While Robert is looking for that video, one other point. You heard me make a comment, and I thought I had read this. I read so much sometimes it slips my mind. But as I said, when you talk about Linda Fairstein, this lady is a piece of crap all the way around. We all now know who she is because of when they see us. But let me read something to you, because I always like to back up stuff with facts. Okay? Linda Fairstein has been accused of working as a consultant for the disgraced former film mogul, arranging meetings between law enforcement and Weinstein's legal team that may have helped the case go away, according to a lawsuit from the former lawyers of actress Paz de la Huerta. Now, De La Huerta is I tell you what, if you have not seen the series Boardwalk Empire, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to tell you, it is a very good series. So she starred on Boardwalk Empire, okay? Now, Tension Law PC sued Weinstein and Fairstein, among others, for torturous interference in a contractual relationship and practicing law without a license, alleging that Fairstein's help a criminal defense lawyer named Michael Rubin worked to thwart De La Huerta's criminal case against Weinstein. The former sex crimes prosecutor is believed to have used her contacts with the Manhattan's DA's office to arrange a meeting between them and Weinstein's defense team, which ultimately led to the DA declining to pursue De La Huerta's rape claims, according to the suit, which was obtained by this paper. The district attorney's office began investigating Boardwalk Empire actress claims that Weinstein raped her twice in New York City and exposed himself to her once in LA. So, any of y'all out there feeling sorry for Linda Fairstein, this lady is a piece of junk, folks. Period. End of story. All right. Were you able to find the video?
Yeah, Russ hooked me up. Hold on, I'm trying to pull it up. Trying to make sure I got the address right before I give it to you.
Okay. Or just give me the name and I can pull it up on
Little Rock officer racial slur at River Market.
Okay, I'll pull it up. So while I'm pulling it up. And while we're pulling that up, so we talked about the Arizona police officer. And that's weird. And the reason we're talking about this is because there are some things apparently that Little Rock police officers can do and won't get fired.
These are your tax dollars and workers.
Okay. But in Fort Lauderdale, 3 Fort Lauderdale police officers have been fired, and another resigned before he could be fired after an internal affairs investigation found that the cops spent time on taxpayer clock sending one another racist text messages and sharing a racially charged video using racial slurs and images. Now, the reason I bring that up is because, see, that's an interesting take. Your job, while you're a police officer, when you're on the clock, is to be a police officer. So if it's found that you are doing anything other than policing, that includes using company resources. In most companies, that's a fireable offense. But are you saying that that's not the case in Little Rock?
No, wait till you hear the video. I'm not going to say anything.
Hang on, tell me the title again. Let me pull it up.
Little Rock officer, racial slurs at River Market.
Let's see if it comes up that way.
Should.
Okay, here it is, right here.
There it is, unedited.
I think I've seen this video now that I see the video. Okay,
Right,
so
here you go.
We're gonna play this video. I will tell you right off the bat, I'm warning you that there may be adult language.
A lot of adult.
There's a lot of adult language. If it gets too bad, I'll have to cut it. But we want to, because
it's not that bad. But it's bad.
If in fact we have police officers who have exhibited that they're racist, and it's been proven with videotape, I'm not understanding the logic as it relates to why a particular officer would not be fired. I'm not understanding that logic. Okay.
You about to find out? Here we go.
So let's see.
It's gonna be interesting. That takes a few minutes. Oh, get this one.
Is that more?
He comes
On
back.
the officer?
He comes back.
We can't do that. That's too much. All right, again, we apologize for the language. It's gotten a little too bad, but we get the gist of what happened.
Yeah.
All right.
So he called a bunch of black boys jigaboos, and they gave his job back.
Right. So again, as I said, as you were getting that video, I'm not surprised, and here's why. Charles Starks is going to be appear before the Civil Service Commission on July 25th, if I remember correctly. And white supremacists have said that they are coming to Little Rock to support Charles Starks. Okay? Now, wouldn't it behoove the police department if the police, because here's a white supremacist coming to Little Rock. This particular situation is already inflamed. There are certainly racial overtones. Wouldn't it behoove the Little Rock FOP and the police department to issue a joint statement denouncing any support from any white supremacists that may be coming to this hearing? Now, certainly you can't stop them from coming.
Let me give you something even better, because I didn't know about this. So Cliff just, well, I knew that they filed a lawsuit, but I didn't know that, that the city settled. You ready?
Okay.
Okay, so this is the one we talked about, last year? About the white guy who put on his Facebook page, night, night, nigga, night, night?
Right.
Okay. He sued the city because they fired him for that. And I'm going to read you this real quick. It said mediation has settled one of two lawsuits against the city of Little Rock over the firing of police recruit for racial remarks on social media. The settlement in the case includes a bombshell from plaintiff's attorney, that police chief Kenton Buckner had admitted during out-of-court testimony that he had used an objectable racial term. In mediation reported a settlement Tuesday to the circuit judge Tim Fox in the case of Brandon Schifferbein and Katrina Jones. The firings did not include terms, but I'm seeking them. Whatever the dude's name is, who is white, had put a photo on Facebook of a sleeping black soldier with whom he served and a line of a song lyric that included the words nigger. Brandon Gurley, a black recruit who complained about the Facebook post, then was fired when it was found that he'd used the same word in 2010 in a Facebook post. His case is pending in Judge Mary McGowan's court. Robert Newcomb, attorney for Schillenbach, later asked Katrina Jones, who was black, as another defendant. She also was fired over the discovery of the use of the word in a song lyric in a social media post. Their suit argued some officers who used the same words were not fired. Y'all get that, right? Boom. That explains it all right there. So officers have used nigger and not been fired, and they've set a precedent that these people can be openly racist and nothing happens to them. So that's what you pay for. That's where your dollars go. That's where your sales tax dollars go. They pay for stuff like that, and they pay for you to pay lawyers to set these kind of precedents. So you should be excited about it.
So let me ask you a question, because this kind of goes back to a conversation we kind of touched on a couple of days ago. the word nigger. Because I hate to say it, even though he may be racist, he has a point.
Who's that?
Schuffelbein.
About what?
If you can say it, I can say it.
That's kind of like. To me,
I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say.
It's like robbing a bank. Now I can try to do it and see if I can get away with it, but I know if I do, they're gonna lock my ass up. Right? Same thing with the N word. If you want to use it and you can take the repercussions, by all means, feel free.
But I agree with you totally on that.
But you try to say that I shouldn't say it so nobody else can say it.
No. What I'm simply saying is this, is that gives them an out.
It does not.
It did. It did.
Because they said it was a song lyric.
Exactly. That gave them an out. You may not like it, but that's a fact.
Well, unfortunately, regardless of what that is. Now, let's go back.
Now, I agree with you.
Let's go back, though. What we just heard in that video, that jigaboo thing, that wasn't a song lyric.
Well, I agree with that, too.
He just walked up and said, y'all doing some illegal jigaboo stuff.
Right.
Totally different ball game. But again,
I agree in that case.
Sets the precedent.
But in the case of, that's why this N-word thing, you can get mad all you want.
I don't think
This argument, hey, you ain't white, you can't say it. Well, my thing is, nobody should be saying it. We can
So you say
end
nobody
that.
can say nigga. It's just, nobody.
Look, you can say what you want to say, but from my perspective, I don't. Only time I use that word is, and on this show, is to make an example. Okay? But to use it in my everyday vernacular, sorry, I'm just not going to do it. And because that's what gives them an out.
But check this out. Here we go. It says this is an update to the settlement as outlined by Carpenter to the city board. The total payment is $50,000, not $50,000 to each plaintiff, as I originally wrote. So they got $50,000 for being racist. They got $50,000 of your tax dollars. And y'all ain't outraged? I don't understand what's up with y'all. But let me read this. This is to the. I think. Let me see who wrote this. Tom Carpenter wrote this. Tom wrote this. This is the city attorney. This is what he wrote to the city board. It says, Dear Mayor Stola and the members of the board of directors, the above matter was filed in the Pulaski County Circuit Clerk this year. The case challenged the constitutionality of the termination of 2 LRPD recruits because, in whole or in part, of Facebook posts which contained racially obsessive language. One of the recruits was a white male and the other a black female. Because the focus was up on state and not federal law, the case was in state court before the Honorable Timothy Davis Fox. Judge Fox mandates mediation in all cases before him. Such a session was held Monday, the 27th of August, 2018. The settlement outlined below has been agreed upon, and as soon as the paperwork is finished, an order of dismissal with prejudice will be filed with the court. Listen to this carefully. The terms are as follows. There is no admission of liability by the city, and the plaintiffs will provide a full and complete release from any claims that were made of which could have been made or could have been made. The 2 former recruits will have their termination by dismissal removed from their records. In return, their separation from employment will be shown as a resignation from LRPD. Neither recruit will be permitted to apply in the future for employment with LRPD or any other city department. A total of $50,000 will be paid to the plaintiffs for any potential damages, attorney's fees, and or costs. This is a one-time $50,000 payment for plaintiffs and their attorney to be divided among the 3 of them. The city pays $25,000 of this amount, and the AMLDF pays the other $25,000.
That's the insurance problem.
This is the end of the city's involvement as to these 2 plaintiffs. Please let me know if you have any other questions. Now, what's interesting about this is that this time the insurance paid half, they pay half, the city pays half. So think about all the lawsuits that happen in our city that our tax dollars are going to pay against stuff that we disagree with, but we end up paying for it anyway, indirectly, and we don't even know it.
Well, I mean, I agree, and many have argued that a lot of the things, if it came out the police benevolent funds or their union funds, then they wouldn't be so quick to shoot and kill people because most of them end up suing and getting a windfall after they've been off for 3 or 4 months. So I totally agree with that. But I think the key to me, because I think you get on a slippery slope, because what I do on my own time is really my business. Okay? And if I remember in that particular case, those were posts made prior to them becoming recruits. Is that not correct?
Right. Yeah.
So at that point, if you did your due diligence, number one, you could have eliminated that by simply doing your research on those people prior to hiring them. Okay? Number two, once they were hired, anything that took place prior, unless it was illegal.
Well, that brings us to another point about the scrutiny associated with white applicants versus.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
That's a whole nother conversation.
So, but once they're hired, I think in the Florida case that we just mentioned, they were fired because they were using public resources illegally.
Yeah.
So what police departments ought to be doing is that when they're seeing these posts or when they pop up, when were they done? It's very easy to find out, okay, was Officer Bob running the midnight shift that night? He posted that. All you gotta do is pull up the duty roster. Boom, you got him. Right. Now, that means you gotta have some due diligence on the part of the police officers that really wanna weed those people out. Right. Apparently, that police department in Florida did. Okay? So, if it may not make people happy, but what someone, because I'm a big First Amendment person, obviously. Okay? What someone does and says on their own time, may not make me happy, but that's on them. But when you're a city employee and what you do, now you're on my dollar.
Right, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you're sitting in your patrol car on my dollar making racist posts, then yeah, you need to go. Now, that doesn't mean that those posts that they later discover after they were hired, I would think that at that point, the chief or whomever it may be goes to that person and say, hey, I saw those posts. I'm going to be watching you. Or something to that effect. You know what I'm saying? So, or put something in his or her jacket to clarify that, hey, I don't know, but because it was done prior to them being hired, and then too, the other thing is, I think it's a little ridiculous that you, because it was in a song, because obviously most young white and blacks listen to gangster rap, and it's full of the N-word. Okay, so.
But don't be stupid.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's kind of. Because they also fired a black guy for some of the same reasons, right?
A black guy and a black girl.
And a black girl for the same reason. And the argument was that it was in a song. Now that's where that's kind of stupid. Okay? That's where I'm like, really? But see, what that means to me is...
Kevin Hart used to say, night, night, nigga, night, night.
Right, but I understand. But let me finish. Okay. But what that means to me is because they did that stretch. See, here's where the racism, in my opinion, really, really meets the road here. Because they did that stretch to say, oh, the two black people had it in a song. Yeah, let's fire them too, to make an example. That's where.
So, but I don't really think people understand the importance of what I just read to them. People were paid for calling people nigga.
Yep.
They were paid for that.
Yep.
Now it happened to be two blacks and a white, but still, what they've established is that if somebody pulls you over, if a Little Rock police officer pulls you over and decides he wants to call you a nigga, bitch, or whatever he decides he wants to call you, guess what? He's not going to be reprimanded.
Well, that's unfortunately what that seems to say.
He's not going to be reprimanded because what happened is that what these guys, what the city did is the city said, yeah, you know what? We have allowed people to be openly racist. Now, what we have to do is we have to pay them because we discriminated against them when they were openly racist. Do you understand that, Dave?
Oh, yeah.
They paid them because they were racist and the city discriminated against them.
But this is going to be unpopular, what I'm about to say. But if that N-word wouldn't have been in that song, I'm just saying.
Okay, Dave. I think you play. I ain't disagreeing with you.
I'm just saying.
Hey, y'all, we finna get up out of here.
Yes, we are.
Hey, spend money on your own community. If you don't, nobody else will. Peace.
Hope y'all enjoyed the show, no doubt about it. Of course, love having Robert in here with his perspective, although he's always wrong. I didn't say that. I just and of course, and really appreciate all the people who gives us feedback. Certainly, Cliff, who listens quite often, who may
by
not
the
be
way,
in the
Cliff sent me
studio.
that link, by the way. I didn't give him his props. My bad.
Yeah, who sends us links and keeps us updated and so on and so forth about things that are going on. So stay tuned. We got a lot of other stuff coming down the pipe here. Y'all just stick and stay, all right? Really appreciate everybody and all the support that you're giving us. Believe me, we really, really need it. And you all continue. Wait, let me just end with this quote. If Trump gets any more incoherent, the right-wing evangelicals will claim he's speaking in tongues.
Jesus.
Y'all have a great day. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for joining the show. All right, man. Good show. Good stuff as always.
Oh, yeah. Woo! Shit. Okay. Whew. I'll be like, I'll let you later.
Okay, man.
You gonna watch the show tonight? You ain't watching it yet.
What?
You gonna watch it yet?
I'm gonna watch it eventually. I might watch it this evening.
Hit me when you start watching.
Okay. Yeah.